Hi friends, welcome to Bookish Bliss, our virtual book club. Every week we will dig into a section of chapters in our favorite books. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 66 of Bookish Bliss. We have a lot to discuss today.
We do. This week we are covering chapters 42 to 56 of Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, so you do have to read the whole book to listen, as we'll be discussing the end of the book.
Woohoo!
It's here already.
I know, book 2 done.
What are you drinking tonight, Amanda darling?
Tonight I am just drinking regular water out of my hydro jug.
Oh, lovely darling.
Nice and cold, because I'm dehydrated.
Yes.
How about you, darling?
I'm just drinking some water, not even out of a fancy cup tonight.
Very good, darling.
I'm always dehydrated lately.
Oh, I know. I just did not drink water all day. I don't know what my problem was.
Did I drink water today? A little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah, I think I literally probably had like a couple sips of wine. I don't know. I almost took a sip twice though, so.
Don't do that. Cheers to episode 66 of Bookish Bliss and part 4 of Crown of Midnight. Cheers.
Yes,
Boom.
cheers, darling. I love cold water.
It's lovely. I have no book news.
I was going to say, do we have any book news? But I don't know. I'm reading the Plated Prisoner series right now on the side, and I'm obsessed. That's my book news.
Yeah, Amanda decided to start a fantasy series I have never read without me.
Well,
Instead of
I told you I was reading
we
it.
should do that series for the podcast.
Oh my
and
God.
then you'll know everything. It's not me.
I probably won't. I'll probably forget everything.
Just like in this book, she's like, what?
By the time I get there after throwing a glass, I'll fucking forget for sure.
Yeah, I can't believe
But it's so good.
we are done with book 2
I know.
of Throne of Glass.
Wild.
And we're moving on to the next one.
But what an epic ending.
Yes.
Epic. I can't wait to talk about it.
I guess there is one thing I did see. Sarah J. Maas was apparently in a Barnes & Noble in Miami yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And these girls didn't even ask her when the next book was coming out. If I was taking a picture with Sarah J. Maas and she was signing my book, I'd be like, listen, honey.
Give me a
Just
hint.
give me something. Blink your eyes how many months it's going to be until they announce something. Give me some sort of indication.
Yeah.
Nothing. But she is alive.
Well, that's good. That's good news. She's seen out in public.
She was seen out in public in Miami, which that's where I think she saw the Taylor Swift show too. So it's like, has she just been chilling in Miami since the end of 2024? And is that where she's wrapping everything up?
Maybe.
She likes to travel when she's writing, so it's very possible that she's doing that.
Oh, learn something new every day. I didn't know that.
Yes, darling.
Oh, darling.
Just a reminder, though, we all reading Silver Elite. Well, we're supposed to be. My book isn't in yet. Book of the month. Hello.
Book of the month. It's May 19th as of the day of this recording. And Megan has not received her book yet.
Which I ordered at the beginning of May.
Literally. Come on, book of the month.
You got yours in.
Yeah, but I ordered it like day 1 or 2 of May.
When
did you order yours?
May 4th.
So a couple days after. But still, it's taking way longer than a couple days.
Yeah.
Did it give you a delay due to high demand? Because I keep seeing everywhere that it's a great book, so.
Oh, I've seen mixed reviews.
Really? I feel like I haven't seen anything. Your feed's so negative.
My feed isn't negative.
Mine's just like positive P always.
Yeah, no. I've seen some really good reviews and I've seen some really bad reviews. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We need you to get your book now.
I know, and I'm leaving for Italy.
I know. Megan's traveling the world, girl.
In 1 week from tomorrow, I will be on an airplane.
Yes. So we have extra podcast duty this week so that we won't miss a week for you guys.
Oh my God.
Away.
We're literally recording 3 episodes before I leave. Well, including this one, thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get started with the good stuff and break down Crown of Midnight Part 4. Take it away, Megan.
All right, we're starting with me and we're ending with me tonight, but I'm very
Beautiful.
excited for the last chapter.
Megan has not said this enough to me yet,
Oh
so I
my
can't
god.
wait to hear it
I've been
probably 10 more times tonight.
saying one of the last lines of this book since last summer when Amanda
Yeah,
finished Crown of Midnight the first time.
literally.
And yesterday I
Like,
said it
monthly.
not once, but twice, texted it to her and sent her a video of me saying it to my niece. And she was like,
Yep.
okay. But to get there, we got to go back to chapter 42.
Very good, darling.
All right. Selena returned to the tomb after disposing of Baba Yellowlegs. Oh my God, that seems like that was so long ago.
Mm.
And her reeking clothes. Even Fleetfoot, sensing evil, tried to pull her away from the burning evidence. Mort confirmed Selena's actions, stating he could still smell Baba Yellowleg's fury and wickedness on her. Selena now bore what looked like permanent scars from the witch's nails, and Mort warned her that this witch mark could bring some serious trouble. Baba Yellowlegs was the matron of her clan, allied with the Blackbeaks and the Blue Bloods, forming the Iron Teeth alliance that destroyed the Croken family. Mort explained that while the Croken witches had been hiding for generations, the Iron Teeth alliance, like Baba, still roamed, meaning they were far from gone. He suspected that upon learning of Baba's death, the alliance would seek answers from the king, hoping it wouldn't implicate Selena. However, Selena's immediate concern was whether the king possessed a word key. She knew she needed to investigate the iron door beneath the library stairs and believed the Walking Dead would now appear to help her open it. Grabbing Damaris and other ancient blades, she returned to the tomb.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, Kale, unable to stay away, went to Selena's rooms despite knowing he shouldn't. Still trying to uncover her noble origins, he found her rooms empty and began snooping. On her messy desk, he discovered papers covered in word marks, which vaguely reminded him of the symbol he'd seen on her forehead during her duel, a memory he'd forgotten until now. He also found Selena's will, signed 2 days before Nehemiah's death, leaving everything to him,
Wow.
including a slum apartment with a request to give some to Philippa. When Selena returned to her rooms, she told Kale she was refusing to change the will, deeming it too much trouble. She suggested it would provide for him when the king inevitably fired him for his incompetence. Kale interpreted this as confirmation she wouldn't betray the crown, as a traitor's assets would go directly to the king. He realized he was wrong to believe she would team up with Aelin Galathinius to reclaim her title in Terrasen. She knew that if he lost his position, he would have to return home, but her money could prevent that. Selena then dismissed him from her rooms. Kale, who hadn't cried at Nehemiah's death or when he imprisoned Selena, broke down sobbing before he even reached his own chambers.
Wow.
Whoa. So we get some more world building at the
Yes.
beginning of this chapter, learning more about the witches and
Yes. Baba.
Baba Yellowlegs, and that
Bye
she's
bye, Baba.
the matron of the Yellowlegs clan. But her clan was aligned with the Blackbeaks and the Blue Bloods to make the Iron Teeth Alliance, and they are the ones that destroyed the Croken witches.
Mhm.
We learned about the differences between the Iron Teeth and the Croken witches last episode.
Yes, we did,
It
darling.
was lovely, darling. So I feel like with this, oh, hope there's no implications from this death, I feel like is some foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
And Mort's like, you stupid bitch.
He's like, "What the fuck did you do?
You
You did not think straight."
literally what I told you not to do, you did. And you keep doing that.
It seems like a pattern.
It literally is a pattern between Mort and Selena. So Mort should really
Yeah.
just be telling her to do the opposite of what he actually wants her to be doing.
Yeah. He's like a grumpy
He is
grandpa.
like a
So
grumpy
funny.
grandpa.
I
He
love
reminds
it.
me of Taryn, his grumpy
Taryn,
grandpa ways.
yes. Literally, you're so right, so funny, and he knows everything but won't tell you.
Yes, it's literally the same.
Exactly the
And
same.
then we get Kale, sad, sad Kale, who finds Selena's will and she is leaving everything and every possession that she owns to him. And
Wild.
she's still not going to change it. She says it's because it's too much of a
Yeah.
pain, but like, it's really
No, I
not.
think she still cares.
She
Yeah.
definitely cares. And this is like the way she's like, I don't want to be with you, but this is me saying, I know that you'll do what I wish for in this will and you'll take care of Philippa.
Yeah, literally.
And then he cried.
I feel like she did that because she thought she was gonna be away, but still, if she could pick one person, it was gonna be him.
Yeah, because Dorian doesn't need any of her stuff,
Yeah,
and
no.
Kale is
He
the only
can't go to
one
the
who
slums.
could benefit from it and never have to return to his awful, awful family.
Yeah, exactly. Chapter 43. Haunted by Nehemia's absence and the world's relentless continuation, Selena sat paralyzed before the pianoforte, the music silent within her. Unlike the memories of Sam and her other loved ones whose names she kept secret, Nehemia's brutal end and harsh final words refused to be neatly tucked away, leaving Selena in a heavy, isolating silence. Seeking a distraction, she ventured to the library and discovered The Walking Dead, a book containing a spell promising to unlock any door. A successful trial on the locked closet fueled a dangerous idea. Returning to the iron door, Selena hoped to uncover clues about the word keys, perhaps even finding them in the king's possession. Her spell worked, revealing not a treasure trove, but a seemingly endless labyrinth of iron doors leading to more iron doors, spiraling deeper underground. Scratched into the stone walls were countless sets of 4 marks etched by desperate fingernails.
Mm.
Armed with Damaris, Selena finally reached the center of the suffocating spiral. Shimmering obsidian walls enclosed her, the same unsettling material she'd seen in the King's, Kane's, and Parrington's rings. And Roland, actually.
Mhm.
Her head was throbbing, and she realized where she was. She was in the clock tower.
Dun, dun, dun!
And the king built the clock tower.
Yes.
Evil motherfucker. But anyways, we get introduced again because this is not the first time, but we know now that the Walking Dead book has a spell that will unlock any door. So we're going back to the iron door.
Oh, chapter 43 and 44 really just grated on my nerves, though. There was just so
I
much
know.
stairs and walking downstairs.
Literally, she's like, down the hall with more iron doors. There was an iron door, and she went through the iron door, and there was more iron
With more
doors. And then
stairs.
she went down the hall. She spiraled down, and there was more iron stairs. More iron doors, and then another set of stairs.
And so mine is literally just in reverse, but now we're running.
And now we're
I don't even
running.
know why we have to go over one chapter.
But she does eventually run into the obsidian walls. So we know something's brewing in there because that freaking obsidian material is in all their rings, and she's onto something here.
Yes, it's always given bad vibes.
Although I don't think any word keys are going to be making fingernail marks on the walls. So
No.
a little hopeful of her, but here we go.
Chapter 44. Dorian followed Selena, who had discovered the legendary catacombs beneath the library. He suspected something was amiss when he saw her armed and her hair was in a braid, a clear sign she was serious. Though his magic screamed at him to flee, he knew he wouldn't find help in time. Descending the staircase, the sight of the iron door twisted his stomach, but he pressed on, knowing he had to urge Selena to leave. Meanwhile, Selena ran through the clock tower's interior, her head throbbing. She dismissed the idea that Gavin or Brannon were responsible for the ache. While they may have built the dungeon, the king had constructed the clock tower. As she pondered its composition, she realized that she was no longer alone. Extinguishing her torch, she raised Damaris, waiting. A creature spoke in its head, claiming it had been left to rot, forgetting its name and former self. It had observed them, learning to manipulate the word marks to open and lock doors. Accustomed to eating mice, it now intended to stalk Selena into the shadows until the opportune moment. The Eye of Elena tried to warn her, but the creature attacked. It was the same one she had encountered in the hallway outside the library. They fought, and Selena fled, spotting Dorian and yelling for him to run. They raced up numerous stairs back into the library.
Stairs on stairs on
I was
stairs.
not repeating all of the stairs that they ran up.
They ran upstairs for 5 pages. Then
They were struggling to hold the door shut. Dorian was rapidly depleting his magic, but Selena told him that the Walking Dead book would find him, and they needed to use it to seal the door permanently. Employing a binding spell, Selena killed the creature and sealed the door shut. And that is just in the simplest of terms of what happened in like
Literally.
25 pages.
Yeah.
Back in Dorian's room, as they cleaned up, they discussed the creature. Selena admitted she didn't know its origin, intentionally admitting her suspicions about the king. However, she did want to address Dorian's magic. She promised secrecy,
Mm.
as she had told no one, and was equally baffled by its sudden appearance. Selena concluded that they could only take things one day at a time.
That was probably the longest chapter of the book.
It was the longest chapter of the book, and we really, obviously we
If we thought like
know.
5
Yeah.
hallways, we would have been there in half the chapter, but
But the king was experimenting on whoever this creature was, because we know by the
yeah.
end of it, it did have a human heart, though it didn't
Yeah.
remember that it was human, what its name was, and it's actually just really sad that it was left down there to rot away.
Yeah.
But
And fend for itself and eat
we
mice.
don't know what the intention of the king was with this creature, or if there's more
Yeah.
behind any of those other locked doors in the cells.
Scary
The
thought
only reason why this creature was out was because it memorized or remembered the word
when
marks the
other
king was
people
using
yeah.
to get in and out of the
Yeah.
doors.
So, yeah, it had to be human because how else would it know to copy and memorize?
Yeah, but it was, like, rabid at the end.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being stuck it can't be, like, light down there. It's gotta be, like, pitch black
But it's
too.
interesting that it was never attacking anyone when it was sneaking in and out of the library and, like, wandering around the castle, because Selena saw it outside of the library and nothing had been destroyed, none of the librarians had been attacked. It's just
Maybe they
interesting.
just went to the kitchen and got some food.
And then it was on its way back, but it was just too big of an opportunity to miss with Selena right there, and it just lost its mind, like, its animal instincts took over, but
Yeah,
yeah, she killed it. RIP to that poor, poor creature that was made by the king.
maybe it was controlled, and that's why I couldn't remember anything.
Yeah, but Selena finally confronts Dorian about his magic. She's like, "Yeah, so remember when I was, like, being a psycho and trying to kill Kale and you stopped me with your magic? I do remember you doing that, but I haven't had the opportune time to discuss it with you, but now that I've seen you use magic again, let's have a little chit-chat about it."
Yeah, because he uses his powers to keep the door shut while she's doing the
Yeah, and
spell.
because it was iron, his magic was draining so fast.
Yeah, I think she realizes here too, right, that he has raw magic?
Yes, but I just wanted to point out here, is it not the door at the top of the library that he's trying to seal, or it must be that first iron door, because that was the first iron door she encountered, not when she moved the tapestry. But that doesn't make any sense, because she's like, I've never seen an iron door before until this one when she goes down the stairs. So is this a
True.
plot hole? Because it said the door was draining Dorian's magic because it was made of iron and he was burning out. But the door at the top of the stairs of the library before you go down shouldn't have been iron. The first iron door she saw was the one to go into the dungeon area.
Yeah, like the under library, right?
No, because she walked all the way
Oh,
down there when she saw all the archives and the Fey paintings, and it wasn't until she got to
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, you're
door
right.
of where she saw the
Yeah.
creature was the iron door. I just thought that was weird.
Yeah, me too. Chapter 45. Forsaking food and comfort, Selena rushed into the dungeons, Caltain's frantic words echoing in her mind. They want to use me. They tricked me. A chilling connection formed as Selena recalled the Rompier family's strong magical lineage, noted in Dorian's family history book. Caltain's belief that her betrothal to Parrington was a ruse, likening her situation to Kane's capture from the magical White Fang Mountains, fueled Selena's curiosity. But Caltain's cell was empty. She was gone. Caltain's cryptic pronouncements resurfaced. Something is coming and I am to greet it, coupled with her headaches and the unsettling sound of wings. The pieces clicked. Roland, too, suffered from headaches and had journeyed to Morith, the same destination as Caltain. Even Nehemia had mentioned hearing wings in the ominous Farian Gap. Selena grappled with the nature of the creature she'd encountered, the unsettling human element within it. Urgent questions consumed her. What was the king's intentions for Roland and Caltain? What was the number of word keys in his possession? And what was the location of the remaining ones? The following day, the library's iron door remained stubbornly sealed. So I guess it was the iron door.
Yeah, but isn't it just weird in like the other chapter? It seemed like she had gone down multiple staircases before she got to this iron door, not
Yeah.
the one behind the tapestry that she found.
No, so maybe she just went down there and it didn't say she went down the stairs again for the 10th time.
I just feel like that's really
I don't
confusing
know.
because how many stairs did I mean, I guess she went down a lot of stairs, that maybe that's, like, where
Yeah,
this battle happened. I mean, I guess the battle couldn't have happened fully in
in
the
the
library or
library because
people would have
people would
seen, but
know.
it's just I don't know, I guess it
Yeah,
was just confusing how
yeah.
too many hallways and
Yeah.
staircases.
Literally. The following day, the library's iron door remained stubbornly sealed, reinforcing Selena was convinced nothing was going in or coming out. The immense power the word keys possessed became a pressing concern. Elena's tomb inscription, Time's Rift, resurfaced in Selena's thoughts. Given the tomb's reverse nature, she wondered if the phrase itself was inverted or scrambled. Only one being, she realized, held the potential answer to this perplexing riddle. So they're in Dorian's room and they're looking through this book of Dorian's family history, and she notices that the Rompier family has strong magical
Well.
lineage. The king wants her for some reason because of that, she figures out, because Cain was also captured from the magically potent White Fang Mountains. Roland is a Havillard, which also has magic in their blood. So he's collecting these magical beings for some reason,
Mhm.
which gives us further indication that he definitely has a word key.
For sure.
And Roland's suffering from these headaches too, and him and Caltaine are both going to Mora.
Mhm.
They're going to the same
With
destination.
Parrington.
Yeah, with Parrington. She's like, what the hell do they want with hers? How many word keys does he have? And where the fuck are the remaining ones?
Mhm.
And then this Time's Rift comes up again, which is the inscription at Elena's tomb.
Mhm.
And she figures out the sky's upside down in the tomb. Everything's like inverted. Maybe the words are a little scrambled too. Brilliant.
Brilliant.
But there's only one being on this entire planet, or at least in this world, that has the potential answer to this riddle. Who do we think that is?
Mort.
Mort, our dear old grumpy grandpa Mort.
He's the best.
He is the best.
Chapter 46, Selena returned to the tomb where Mort revealed that, Time's Rift was an anagram for I
Yay.
am the first, confirming that the first of the three word keys was once hidden there. The riddle had stated in grief he had hid one in the crown of her he loved so well to keep with her where she lay down inside the starry cell. However, the word key was no longer in the crown. The king had discovered it when he was 20 years old. Mort remarked that the king had been reading forbidden books, a habit that reminded him of Selena. He hadn't realized what the king had taken until Selena deciphered the riddle. The king had only returned once, seeking the other two keys, but Mort never spoke to him directly.
Oh, he must not have liked him.
Mort believed the king didn't possess all three keys, otherwise, he would have attempted to conquer other worlds and enslave their creatures. He cautioned Selena against pleading with the word, as the king controlled it, advising her to find another way to save herself. Selena deduced that the king had used the key to suppress magic except for his own, and by extension, Dorian's. Mort speculated that anyone capable of eliminating magic might possess more than one key, suggesting that the king likely had two. Now knowing the nature of the evil Elena wanted her to find, Selena wondered if she was meant to locate the third key and steal the other two from the king. She was certain Nehemia had known about this and resolved to find the word marks to open a portal and speak with her despite Mort's warnings. Meanwhile, Dorian was being told to awaken by the spectral figure of Gavin, the first king of Adarlan, who urgently told him to go to Selena immediately, stating she was in danger and he needed to stop her or he would lose her forever. Without even processing the impossible encounter with his ancestor, who shared his sapphire eyes, Dorian hastily dressed, grabbed his sword, and sprinted from his tower. It's like
Drama.
literally in every Sarah J. Maas book, it's like the last 10 chapters. It's like
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
Nuts.
It's like,
Yep. I was just gonna say
what?
this chapter got the ball rolling for us
It
in the
it
end.
really did. So we know for sure that the word key was in there and the king definitely has
Yes.
that one, but it doesn't seem like there was any other keys located in this tomb, which would be silly to put all three in the same spot.
Of course, yeah, no, that would definitely be silly.
But
Mort said he has 2 though, or he thinks he has
yeah,
2.
that's what I was just gonna say too. He thinks that he has two because to be able to eliminate magic, except his and by extension Dorian's magic because of the same familiar line, that he
Mhm.
must have two. But which one does he have? We don't know for sure. It's just suspected, but we do know for sure he has the one that was in the
Has
tomb.
1. Yeah, and Mort didn't put it together until she solved the riddle.
Like,
I'm like, "Sure you
yeah,
didn't, Mort. Sure you
sure
didn't."
you didn't, darling.
There must be some curse on him, like, he can't say something until it's brought up, because he always tells her to ask
So yeah, he's like, you
questions.
need to ask better questions and I can give you the
Yeah.
answer.
So maybe just because she didn't ask about it?
Yeah, but,
Mm,
I mean, she's not gonna listen to him anyways because he doesn't want her opening a portal, and she's like, "I'm gonna do
yeah.
it anyways, I need to talk to
Of
Nehemia."
course.
But it's interesting, we get to see that the sapphire eyes does in fact make Dorian a Havillard because you were like, "He doesn't look anything like his dad." La,
Yeah, I
la, la.
know. Well, they mentioned the eyes, so I'm like,
Hmm,
they say his eyes are not like his mom or his dad. Didn't forget that.
well, there's a lot of things that you still don't know.
Yeah, like something from a fucking lake. I remember that part too.
What?
The Silver Lake.
What's the Silver Lake? Oh, he smelled like the Silver Lake?
Yeah.
But we know that the sapphire eyes does in fact run in the Havillard line.
Mhm.
So now you can't deny Dorian's lineage any longer.
I guess.
But Dorian, being the good little ex-boyfriend that he is gonna go save Selena's ass right now because she's in trouble yet again.
Actually, now that we know what we know at the end of this book, and they're like distant cousins, right?
Oh my god. You don't even want to know how weird the series ends up getting with the distant cousins. They both descend
Ew.
from Elena.
This is why I like to kill better, but
Just
whatever. Family
oh my
incest.
god. I just like literally can't even when you find out more. Dorian
Gross.
and Selena are pretty far removed from their bloodline.
Yeah, I
It's like
guess.
literally like up here to like down here. I mean, I think Queen Elizabeth
Yeah.
and Prince Philip were more related than Selena and
Ew.
Dorian.
Yeah, that's still weird to me. But anyways. Chapter 47. Driven by grief and a desperate need for answers, Selena used her own blood to painstakingly trace word marks onto the wall, attempting to open a portal to communicate with Nehemia. Selena knew the king had targeted Cain, Caltaine, and Roland, all individuals with magical blood, the very essence required to manipulate word marks according to the Walking Dead. The crimson symbols on the wall began to glow an eerie green. It was working. A long, black, empty hallway manifested in the opening, and then Fleetfoot's frantic arrival heralded another presence. Nehemia materialized, her expression not one of reunion, but of fierce anger. She berated Selena for her reckless act, warning her to never open such a portal again, declaring that no one had the right to breach that realm, and that a far more dangerous entity would await her next attempt. Ooh.
Mm.
Nehemia revealed that her death, though tragic, was a sacrifice she had accepted, a necessary catalyst for change. She confessed that Selena had been a beacon of light in her decade of darkness, a light she desperately didn't want extinguished. With those heartfelt words, she vanished. Selena's desperate pleas for her return went unanswered, leaving her vulnerable and exposed as Archer's footsteps echoed nearby, revealing he had witnessed the entire terrifying event. Oh
Oh no,
no.
darling.
So Selena learns from The Walking Dead that you need magical blood in order to work the word marks, which makes sense why the fucking king is gathering them all.
Mhm.
But also, why can't he just do it himself?
He can, but
But more people that he can control doing it, the more he can open, I
I
guess.
guess, yeah, like you might as well just like
The more
amass more
locations.
power and have more people indebted to you or enslaved to
Or in
you.
your control,
Yeah.
I guess, because if they can do it and they're out of your control, then they could fight you or whatever. So I guess that makes sense,
Keep
yeah.
your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Indeed. So maybe that actually wasn't Martha she was talking about at the end of my chapter. Maybe it was Nehemia because she opens this portal to talk to her,
Mm,
and Fleetfoot runs up to the
I
portal.
know.
But he doesn't run through because he knows,
Well,
and even
it
Nehemia
says,
says, she's like, "We cannot cross this line."
"Neither of you can cross this line."
Yeah, and she's pissed. She's like, "I thought you were fucking smarter than this, you dumb bitch."
Right.
She basically said.
She did say that.
She kinda tells Selena here that, "I've accepted my death. It was tragic, but it was a sacrifice that was
For you
needed
to get your shit
to"
together.
Yeah, and for change to happen.
Yeah.
But she also has some sentimental words from her, so at least now she'll remember these ones about not letting her light extinguish instead of calling her a
Coward.
coward.
Yeah.
And then this motherfucker Archer witnesses this whole
Yep.
event, and he's just looks like he saw a ghost, which he basically
Yeah,
did,
he
so
did see a ghost.
indeed.
Indeed. Chapter 48. Selena demanded to know why Archer was in the tunnels. He revealed that he'd been tracking her for weeks, coming down here every night since Nehemia's death. Selena tried to swipe away the word marks to close the portal, but the spell was far more complex than any she had used before. As Archer attempted to stop her, she noticed a snake like creature tattoo, the same one she had seen on a note from Nehemia warning her not to trust him. Archer knew about the word keys and asked if Selena had found any. He was aware she had discovered the riddle in Davis's office, but
Mhm.
Archer did not know about the second riddle in the tomb. Selena admitted that the king possessed at least one key. Archer urged Selena to join him to expose the king's actions, steal the keys, and reshape the world as they desired. Selena retorted that she would rather destroy them, a sentiment she now realized Nehemia had shared, as Nehemia had left their movement a week before her death. Archer believed Nehemia intended to betray their cause to the king in exchange for clemency for Eelway. It was then that Selena realized and tricked Archer into confessing that he had orchestrated Nehemia's murder, having manipulated Grave while posing as Consulman Molson. Archer also knew Selena's true identity. Arabin had told him after she was sent to Endovier, explaining her significance to their movement. Selena lunged at him, intent on revenge for Nehemia, but before she could strike, something that was not Nehemia stepped out of the portal.
Oh, no.
Kale couldn't sleep, a fortunate circumstance as Dorian soon pounded on his door, urgently telling him Selena was in danger and they needed to move immediately. All Dorian could explain was that a dream had warned him of Selena's peril. They rushed to Selena's room to find it empty, the door behind the tapestry ajar. Despite Kale's insistence that Dorian stay upstairs, he followed. They found Selena in the tunnels with a portal, Archer, and a monster advancing on her while an injured Fleetfoot stood defiantly in its path. Kale again urged Dorian to leave before he engaged the creature.
Wild.
So crazy. So we knew Archer was a little snake, a little bitch
Mhm.
boy,
Literally a bitch boy,
and
motherfucker.
had murdered and orchestrated Nehemia's death and kidnapping Kale to get Selena out of the castle because he thought that
Mhm.
Nehemia was going to betray him and the movement to the king to get clemency for Eelway.
Yeah, because she left it, like, a week before she died because she didn't agree with his plan.
Yeah, she was like, I'm not using word keys against the king. We need to put them back or destroy them. That's what we
Literally.
need to do with them. And Archer didn't agree. And Selena
Mhm.
also said she would rather destroy the keys than use them as well. But she does trick Archer into being like, she was going to ruin everything and, getting him to fess up that he was the one that had orchestrated her death. And then after he confessed, she's like, now you're going to die.
Literally, she manipulated the manipulator.
Yes. She's like, you can't out manipulate me. I'll manipulate you right
No.
back.
Yeah, she's like, "You will pay for everything."
hmm But before she could finish murdering Archer, a giant creature leaped out of the portal. Had accidentally with a word key on the portal, and it opened up like another world where this creature came out of.
Yeah, she, like, tapped it or something, and it started glowing, and
Yeah.
then
Uh-oh.
it was over.
Yeah, then there was some big problems, but
Indeed.
Kale and Dorian arrived to see the portal, Archer, Fleetfoot injured, poor Fleetfoot, and Selena
No.
knocked out, and this creature trying to get to her, and Fleetfoot's like, "You will not touch my mommy."
I know. Ugh, if anything ever happened to Fleetfoot, I would die.
Die. Now Kale knows how she was sneaking in and out of the castle and how she murdered Grave because she was using this secret door and tunnels. He's like, "What the heck? Where did all this come from?"
Literally, Dorian's like, "I knew. My dream.
Yeah.
My dream told me I would find this door here."
I can't. And he like, go back upstairs. He's like, my dream told me that I was supposed to come. You're lucky I even came to get you. He's so stupid, those boys.
Yeah,
How about we focus on the
literally.
monster that's about to eat your girlfriend?
I know. Well, he was probably trying to protect Dorian because he's like, if there's 2 of you down there that I have to protect, it's gonna be harder than
No,
one.
for sure. Kale was definitely in the right by saying
Yeah.
this, but oh,
Dorian's like, "My girl's down there!"
yeah.
Chapter 49. Selena couldn't remember anything after her initial sword strikes. Her focus shattered by Fleetfoot's brave assault on the monstrous creature, which retaliated by slamming Selena's head against the wall. Consciousness returned with a throbbing headache. Dorian's concerned face above her, while Kale engaged the beast in fierce combat. An instinct to aid Kale surged within Selena, but she was too slow. Dorian, however, was not. Unleashing a potent invisible force, he slammed the creature with raw magic, a rare and deadly power capable of limitless manipulation. Selena told Dorian that the portal had to be closed before more creatures poured through, but Archer, clutching the spellbook, chanted louder, his panting flight down the hall with the book, thwarting their immediate plan. Reluctantly, Selena agreed with Dorian and a wounded Kale that retrieving other books upstairs to close the portal was their only option. As Dorian physically dragged the struggling Selena towards the stairs, her cries for Fleetfoot echoed throughout the chamber. The monster, with terrifying speed, seized Fleetfoot by her hind leg, dragging her into the swirling portal. Without hesitation, Kale leaped through after her.
Oh.
Desperate Selena broke free from Dorian's grip, slamming his head against the wall before plunging into the portal after Kale and Fleetfoot. She literally does the same thing as the monster.
Yeah.
The horrifying scene that greeted her, the monster looming over Kale, protecting Fleetfoot with his bare hands, his sword broken beside him. Without a second thought, Selena unleashed the monstrous power within her. Kale, witnessing her transformation, saw her features sharpen, her movements gain an unnatural grace, her ears elongating into delicate points. A primal roar ripped from her throat, revealing elongated canines, a sound that confirmed the impossible. Selena was not human. She was Fae! Wild!
Wow. Well,
Whoa.
we kind of knew she had some magical ability,
Yes, we definitely knew.
but she is Faye.
She's fucking Fae.
Yep.
So we start this chapter with Dorian's fucking magic going on. And we find out that it's his raw magic here, which is rare and deadly, capable of limitless manipulation. He can literally do anything with this magic.
He's a powerful being, that Dorian.
Yes. Very, very powerful. But Selena, as soon as she sees that this monster grabs fucking Fleetfoot, Kale goes leaping through the portal after her. Okay, a little swoon moment for him again, even though he broke my heart, but that's okay. But he goes to save Fleetfoot, so that's a win in my book.
Yes.
But Selena's like, okay, Dorian, bash, just like the monster does to her. She goes after them. And because she's in this portal or in this other world through this hallway, she can transform into her Fae body. And she gets these long ears, these long teeth, her delicate, unnatural grace.
Yep.
In her movements.
Yep.
She's fucking Fae, and what the fuck is she gonna do?
Well, let's find out. Chapter 50. Selena knew she had shifted the moment she stepped through the portal into the other world. Magic surged within her, her power always manifesting as fire. Her senses heightened, immediately telling her that this world was wrong and they needed to escape. She urged Kale to run and turned to face the creature. Knowing Kale and Fleetfoot had made it through the passage, she resolved to stop this creature and the others she could hear approaching. Selena admitted she lacked control over her power, but she could channel it through Damaris. Focusing her energy, she plunged the sword into the earth, creating a crater that separated her from the creature and the portal. As she moved back towards the portal, her magic faded and returned to her human form. Dorian regained consciousness just as Kale dragged Selena back through the portal. Kale wanted her to close it, but she was drained of magic. Instead, she told Dorian that he possessed magic they could use before the creature learned how to cross over again. Selena explained she needed some of his blood, mentioning she had found a book that detailed how to open a portal but had accidentally altered a symbol. Since Archer had taken the Walking Dead, she would have to rely on the sealing spell she had used on the library door. Using Dorian's blood and sealing the word marks, they managed to close the portal. Dorian suggested they all needed a drink, but Selena knew she had to retrieve the book and go after Archer. Despite Kale's attempt to stop her, she was already on her way. I just thought of this. I'm so pissed at chapter 44 being as
Why?
long as it fucking was.
I
When I
know.
feel like this chapter, chapter 50, when we finally find out that Selena is Fae and we're seeing her use her fucking magic for the first time, should have
I
been the
know.
long chapter that was detailed.
Literally.
Like,
You're right.
what? Why do we care about spiral staircase and another hallway and then another door when we could have been focusing our pages on this chapter?
It's like the anticipation. You're just like, you gotta keep reading to figure it out.
So annoying.
But you know what I thought of at the beginning of this chapter?
What?
Selena has magic that manifests as fire,
Mhm.
and Dorian, there's something weird with the Silver Lake, and he had frost around his ass. So I'm like, maybe his blue ass eyes mean something to do with water or
Like
ice. And
a
Selena is
fire and
fire.
ice?
Yeah.
Wow.
I definitely just figured that out. I know I'm right.
Funny. I would have liked to have seen her like trying to like work with her magic more, like struggling
Yeah.
with it a little bit. Like she says that she doesn't really have control over her magic and she like never
Yeah.
has, but she, uses the sword as a conduit to and puts all of her like imbues it with magic and then shoves it into
Mhm.
the ground, like creating this big crater separating the creature and like the portal and herself. But yeah, I think I would have liked to see a little bit more in this scene than we got.
Yeah. I feel like it was just a little tease, but could have teased us a little more.
Yeah, we could have had like a little less in 44 to give us a little more in 50.
Yeah, exactly.
Sel drags her out of the portal because now she's human again. As she got like closer
Mhm.
back to their worlds, she flipped back into her human form
Mhm.
and she's drained. She's exhausted. And Kale knows that, well, Dorian definitely used his magic in his chapter, but now knows for sure that Dorian has magic, or Selena's at least saying that Dorian has magic, and they're using
Yeah.
Dorian's blood to seal the portal with the sealing spell that she used in the library
Yeah.
iron door. And it works, thank God, because Archer, that little
Thank
bitch
God.
boy, ran off with the book.
Yeah, so actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's why she needed Dorian's blood in the first place, because if she altered or put her blood on top of the other ones, it would have maybe made different shapes. So she needed his blood specifically to make the shapes to close the portal.
But if her magic was, like, running low or burnt out, then she no longer had, like, magic in her blood to use to seal the door because she already expended all of her energy. Because they can,
Oh, okay.
because when Dorian was, like, using his power to, like, seal the door in the library, like, he burning out. So they
Yeah.
can burn out, and then they won't be able to use their magic for a while.
Okay. Got it. We needed Dorian in more ways than one.
Yes. And now Dorian's like, "Let's go have a drink and have a little chit chat about everything that happened down here." And Selena's like, BRB, because I need to go kill Archer still. Bye.
Yeah. She's like, I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
See ya.
I'll be right back. Go take care of
Literally.
my dog.
Chapter 51. Driven by a primal rage and the faintest scent of Archer, Selena pursued him through the tunnels, her extinguished face senses still able to track her prey. She found him trapped behind a recently sealed grate. Archer's desperate pleas for survival began with a self-serving justification for Nehemiah's murder, claiming it was for their supposed shared cause against the king. Selena, however, vehemently rejected any alliance with him, vowing to dismantle his entire network. She's pissed. Desperate, Archer tried to manipulate her with secrets Nehemia supposedly held about Selena, but she remained unmoved. His final fatal mistake was invoking Rook Farron, boasting about the pleasure he derived from torturing Sam Cortland. This ignited Selena's fury beyond control. Archer's last attempt at manipulation, invoking Nehemia's supposed belief in Celaena's inherent goodness, momentarily gave her pause. He says Nehemia wouldn't want her to do this. She's not a murderer. She thinks about Nehemia telling her not to let the light go out inside her. But there was only a small kernel left that grew smaller by the day. But the darkness of Archer's actions overwhelmed any lingering restraint. Celaena delivered her fabricated ultimatum. He and his allies would leave Rifthold that night. His hollow praise for her being a good woman was met with a cold denial. With a swift, brutal motion, she said, "No, I'm not," and plunged the dagger into his heart, twisting it as she whispered a final sorrowful truth. But Nehemia was.
Oof.
Bye-bye, Archer, you prick.
Literally, fuck you.
He's literally trying to manipulate her from the beginning. He's like, "Please don't kill me. Nehemia's murder is justified. We have the same goal to get the king and blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
Not gonna work.
No.
Then I think he panics a little. First, he tries to manipulate her a little bit more, saying that Nehemia knew secrets about Celaena,
Mhm.
which is actually
She
interesting.
definitely knows who Celaena is.
Yeah, but how does Archer know that?
Because I think when Nehemia was actually in the movement, he did say that Nehemia was telling them everything that Celaena told her.
Hmm.
Because I think that Nehemia is like, well, Celaena would be obviously the perfect person to be the head of this movement or involved in this movement. But then I think when she got to know Archer and knew that he couldn't be trusted, that's when she obviously left the movement and told Celaena, like, not to trust Archer.
Interesting. Okay. His final mistake that he makes, though, is talking about Sam and how Rook Farron was boasting about the pleasure that he got out of torturing poor Sam.
Oh, stabbed him right then and there.
I'm surprised she didn't, or at least like she did with Grave, like his wrists and his kneecaps and slitting his bones at his shins or something, some kind of torture to be like, "Oh yeah, I'll show you fucking fun."
I love Sam Cortland so much, and it just makes me so sad about what happened to
Oh,
him.
I know. I'm really excited to keep reading the series to find out more about him, but I don't know much at this point besides he's dead and they were once in love as children. That's all I know.
Yeah.
But I almost was fucking convinced at the end of this chapter that Selena
Lena,
was gonna let this motherfucker go. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding
I
me?
think
She better goddamn
I
not."
think I did the same thing too, even though I knew he
Yeah.
was gonna die.
Me too. I read this book too, and
I
I'm
was
like,
like, "What is she doing?"
literally, I'm like, "Again? She's gonna give him this fucking ultimatum to leave?" But nah, she was the master manipulator at the end of this chapter and was like, "Nah, I was not a good woman, but Nehemia was, and you will pay for her
Mhm.
death now with a dagger to your heart."
Yes, dead.
So Archer is off our list officially.
Which is a good thing because head was due to the king.
Exactly.
Chapter 52, Kale watched Archer die. For a heartbeat, he wondered if Selena would kill him too. But when she turned, the killing gleam in her eyes were gone, replaced by exhaustion. She picked up the Walking Dead book and told Kale she owed him an explanation. Back in Selena's room, she refused to be examined until the healer had seen Fleetfoot, who thankfully would be all right. Dorian was checked out next and was also fine. Then Selena and Kale engaged in an intense stare down until Kale finally relented and sat with the healer. Selena told Dorian she would visit him later, and though he disliked being dismissed, he understood that Kale and Selena needed to talk. Selena didn't require the healer's attention. Her shifting in the other world had allowed her fae and magic to heal her, leaving her only exhausted. She went to bathe while Kale was treated. Afterwards, she explained to Kale that her great grandmother was fae, and while her mother couldn't shift, Selena could. When magic disappeared 10 years prior, she lost her ability to shift, which she believed had saved her because she used to lack control over her transformations. However, magic still existed in the other world, and she admitted she could have harmed Kale as easily as the creature due to her lack of control there. She then told him about the word marks, portals, San Ewan, finding the tomb, Elena's desire for her to be the champion, Cain and the Ritterak, but she admitted the details about the word keys, the king, and his potential dealings with Caltaine and Roland.
Mhm.
Kale admitted he would have called her insane, but he had witnessed the creature and the portal himself. She then revealed what truly happened the night of Nehemiah's death, clarifying that while Kale wasn't responsible, she still didn't trust him. She did apologize for hurting him. Kale started to tell Selena he loved her, but she stopped him, saying she didn't think she could ever return to that place with him. She left the room, stating she needed to prepare Archer's body alone. Bell considered everything Selena had revealed. He struggled to believe Dorian possessed magic despite Selena's implication and the invisible force that had repelled the creature. Cal knew that Selena was in grave danger within the castle. Seeking support, he went to his father's rooms. He devised a plan to send Selena to Wendelin to assassinate the royal family and steal their naval defense plans, hoping to keep her away from the king. To secure his father's agreement, he promised to return to Aniel and become his heir.
So much happens in these ending chapters, it's crazy.
Yeah, so we know everyone's gonna be all right. Fleetfoot the most, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank
Oh my
thank
god.
the word.
Thank the word. I would not be able to read the end of this book if that was not the case.
Yeah, Amanda's like, DNF, no longer will read the rest of the series.
0 stars.
0 stars.
But she lives, so we get the 5 stars.
So finally, Selena's almost 100% truthful. I would say she's being 85% truthful about everything that
Hey,
has happened in the last
step in the
year.
right direction,
I
yeah.
don't even know if it's been a year, the last couple of months.
Yeah.
I was like, I would literally think you were insane, but I just witnessed everything basically with my own eyes. So she tells him she's Fae through her mother's line and that her great grandmother was Fae. And he's like, interessante, because he's been searching her noble lineage, trying to figure out what family she came from to see if she would ever try to take back her title. But he has come up empty handed so far, but we know that he figures it out by the end, darling.
We do know. Also, a weird thought came to my mind as you were reading your summary,
Okay.
and I feel the need to share it. 10 years ago is when the king really started taking over,
Mhm.
which makes me assume that he got the key or one of the word keys at 20 years old, which was 10 years ago. So he's 30 and Dorian's 19
Oh, he must have had the word key lo
at
at 20,
20
but did not use it
for a couple years at
years. Yeah.
least. Maybe so that might confirm that he has 2 then because maybe he started to take over a decade after he got the second one.
Yeah, I'm sure he was doing some shady shit from the beginning until he started gaining some power, and then, once you have, like, a good momentum going, it kind of seems like, "Oh my god, this is happening all at once," but really, it's been
Yeah,
happening slowly over time, and then all of a sudden it's
yeah,
in your face.
yeah.
Some
I'm like, "Wait, the king was 11?" But no, that makes sense. So he had to have he has to have 2, I'm convinced now, if he got the first one at 20.
Don't stare me down.
She's like, "La, la,
I
la."
was like,
Next
"Gotcha."
question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then he is trying to confess his love to her, and she's like, "No, don't say it.
I
I will
know. He
never
literally
trust you again."
yeah. Ugh, I love Kale again, I'm sorry.
I know.
Nehemian wanted to die. Well, not that she wanted to die, but she knew her sacrifice was needed. So I'm like, I don't hate Kale that much. Not at all, actually. I don't hate him at all.
I don't hate Kale, and I know
Yeah.
everything.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better.
I'm just saying that. You would know if I actually hated him.
No, I know. You wouldn't be able to hide it on your face. You wouldn't even need to say
Yeah.
it.
Unfortunately.
I knew you hated Talon from day one.
Unfortunately, I can't hide my feelings well. But now, what do we think about this plan of his to send Selena to Wendelin?
I understand that he wants her to be safe, and that's where, like, the Fae last were, I guess, or
Mhm.
still are in hiding. I don't know. But I also don't know how it's gonna fit in with our story and trying to get the word keys, unless there's one over in Wendlin. But I guess we'll have to see.
We'll have some time before we get there. We have a whole other book before we get there.
Indeed, and your demise was chapter 44 with the longness, and I feel like 53 wasn't long, but it was the info dump
Yeah.
of the end of this book, so bear with me as I read this summary for probably the next 10 minutes, but here we go. Chapter 53. Selena recounted her recent ordeal to Dorian, carefully omitting some details she shared with Kale. She proposed introducing Dorian to Mort, who might be instrumental in helping him understand and control his raw magic, provided Mort took a liking to the prince, because he never liked the king. Dorian, in turn, offered a heartfelt sentiment, reiterating his gratitude for Selena's presence in his life, a sentiment that held true even amidst the changed dynamic post-duel. Selena's thoughts drifted to Nehemia's vision of a transformative court, a vision she now saw as potentially realized with compassionate leaders like Dorian, who inspired loyalty in men like Kale. However, a nagging worry persisted. Was the king aware of the quiet power his son possessed? Unbeknownst to Selena, the king was indeed considering Kale's plan to dispatch her to Wendlin, a proposed endorsement by his father and several advisors. While the king trusted Selena's lethal efficiency for his dark tasks, her proximity to Dorian troubled him, and this plan offered a convenient separation. Observing Dorian's disapproval and Kale's avert gaze, the king recalls learning of Archer's role in Nehemia's assassination from Selena. He promptly summoned his champion to discuss this new assignment. However, the king's knowledge extended beyond Archer's treachery. He had sensed the opening of a portal, a magical feat he believed only Cain capable of. His sleep had been disturbed by this anomaly, and he also was recalling the disappearance of Baba Yellowlegs and wondered if it could have been the same person. Though no body was found, the king knew the ancient witch hadn't simply vanished, noting traces of dark blood in her ruined wagon. He had intended to glean information about the remnants of the Iron Teeth Witch Kingdom from her, grab a couple of mirrors, but her untimely demise had thwarted his plans. Furthermore, the king was secretly managing an uprising in Calicula, information confined to his inner circle. In the shadows of the Ferrying Gap, a more ominous development was underway, the breeding of wyverns for his burgeoning armies. Whoa! When Selena arrived, Kale relayed the Wendlin plan, but the king unveiled a significant alteration. A solstice ball loomed in a few months, and he tasked Selena with a far more ambitious mission: assassinate the king of Wendlin and his heir during their moment of triumph, under the very noses of their court. Selena found the audacity of the plan brilliant, and the king decreed her departure for the two-week sea voyage the following day. He mused on the word mark that had inexplicably appeared on her head during the duel with Cain, interpreting it as a symbol of being nameless or unnamed. Dorian's attempt to delay her departure for Wendlin, citing the need for her acclamation, was swiftly dismissed by the king, who decreed she could study the necessary materials en route. Determined to ensure the success of this crucial opportunity in Wendlin, he planned to dispatch riders to the Ferrying Gap and prepare his legions, seeing it as an opportune moment to test his secretly forged weapons. In a seemingly convenient appearance after the monster attack, Queen Elena urged Selena to prioritize Wendlin, dismissing the immediate pursuit of word keys and word marks. Interesting. Despite Selena's initial reluctance to Kale's idea of simply hiding among the Fae, Elena's insistence, echoing Nehemia's acceptance of her own fate and advising Selena to table her suspicions about Nehemia manipulating Archer, ultimately convinced Selena to agree to the journey. Lots and lots to unpack here.
So much.
So much. So we start this fucking info dump chapter with Selena info dumping Dorian about basically everything she's gone through in this last couple of months. And she proposes to introduce Dorian to Mort. She's like, I know someone that can help you with your raw magic.
Yeah.
If Mort likes him, because, he never did speak to the king. So, but I have a feeling he would like Dorian.
Yeah.
And Dorian's like, I still mean what I said back then, that I'm still very grateful for you, and says this little speech to her, this heartfelt sentiment. Selena's just like, yeah.
Friends.
And then, and she's thinking, wow, men like Dorian leading, who inspire men like Kale to be loyal to him. Maybe Nehemia's vision of this transformative court could come to reality. Who knows? She has this concern that maybe the king is aware of this power that Dorian possesses. What do you think? I think he knows.
Yeah.
I mean, tells us that he knows that there's a portal. He knows Roland has magic in his blood.
Yeah.
Well, like, he definitely knows about Dorian's magic. Maybe not the extent of it, but he knows there's something
Or
something
there's
going
at
on.
least potential for it.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. I thought it was interesting that I know he never really wanted Selena and Dorian together, but he basically tells us in his POV at the end of this chapter that Kale's plan is a good idea to get her away from Dorian. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of interesting.
Mhm.
He's like, I know she's a badass and she'll kill anyone I say, but she needs to get the fuck away from my son.
Yeah.
That even makes me a little bit more wary of him onto Dorian.
Yes.
Because he's like, "Ooh, them 2 together cannot be a good thing against me."
Yeah, no, he knows.
It's crazy that he could sense the portal being opened. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because of the obsidian under the clock tower?
Could be for multiple of reasons. Like he has amassed so much power that he might just be able to sense other power at this point.
Mm,
We know that
true.
Elena called the gargoyles like watchers or guardians. So
True.
they
And they're at the clock
and they
tower.
yeah, they could be reporting to the king in his sleep or like alerting him to things. So there could be like a number of reasons why he was aware of the portal being opened, especially because he was
Yeah.
using word marks.
Yeah, and I think he mentions this whole thing about Baba Yellowlegs because he probably wanted to ask her about the location of the last word key.
Hmm. Use of her mirrors, like, also would show
Yeah. Or
things.
if it was like a truth mirror or something.
Yeah, who knows, like, what her mirrors could show. It seems like they had a multiple things that they could do with their power.
Yeah. And then I almost fucking jumped out of my chair the first time I read this because I already knew this was coming. This part I actually did remember reading this, but we learn about the breeding of wyverns in
Oh my god,
the Therian Gap.
what's so funny is the first time I read this series, I didn't know what a wyvern was, and I was like, "Oh, well." And so when I
Yeah.
started reading Airfire and, introduced more into the wyvern world, I was like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Yeah,
And now
literally. I wouldn't have known without Fourth Wing, but
like, reading this series and then reading Fourth Wing, like, I know what a wyvern is, but at this time, I was like, "I don't know what a fucking wyvern is. Why would we be
yeah.
scared of this?"
You're like, "Woohoo, it has wings.
Yeah.
What bird? Cool little bird." That's amazing.
I thought I would bring that up because I was like, "I don't know what this is." Like, should care clearly, but
Yeah, you should care. Wait, I love how they're riders too. The ones that are the army men that are gonna be physically riding the wyvern, called riders too. Love that. But anyways, it's also interesting that we get that chapter last section, was it, of the slave girl in Calicula slamming an axe into the gut of a guard. And now we learn about this uprising in Calicula, and he's trying to keep it under wraps so nobody knows about it. But because we're in his POV, we know what's going
yeah,
on.
she started a revolution.
Hell yeah. So Nehemia was right. It's not just Selena she was trying to kick into gear, it was everybody.
Yeah. She's like,
It was the whole
"I have
rebellion.
to do so much work and die, and what the hell?
Yeah.
Why me?"
Literally. The king ultimately agrees to send Selena to Wenland, but he wants her to assassinate the king of Wenland and his heir during this solstice ball that is
Hmm.
supposedly gonna happen a few months into her journey there. That's a little twist. She can't really hide if she's gonna have to bring back a head or two.
Yeah. Especially for a royal
And
family.
yeah. It's also weird that he's thinking about this word mark that was on her forehead in this moment too. I feel like we just need to get the whole King POV out in this chapter of everything he's thought throughout this whole book
Yeah.
because we haven't heard from him once or maybe once or twice since this series started. So he, I thought was really interesting, interprets the symbol as being nameless or unnamed. What the fuck does that
Well,
mean?
because Selena is not her real name.
Exactly, but how is he gonna figure it out?
I know,
Or
I'm
is he gonna
surprised
figure it
he
out?
hasn't because, like, he even makes a comment, like, he is coming into into this room, like, averting her gaze like she always does.
Yeah.
Like, he knows she's, like, doing it, like, I'm surprised he hasn't, like, thought about it harder. She's only
Interesting.
shown him his eyes once when she killed Grave.
Yeah. Mm. She has fire in her eyes.
She has ash river eyes.
Yeah, so we learned too that he not only has these wyvern ready to go in the ferrying gap, but he's got all these armies he's going to prepare, and he admits that he has these secretly forged weapons. What the fuck could that mean? Has to be something of the word key type, or due to the word key, he has these weapons.
Or thinking about other things that he was worried about in this chapter, implications that could mess with his plans because a certain someone is no longer with us. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Look at disappeared. Who is he talking about?
Oh, Baba Yellowlegs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to tell me something I didn't know.
Oh, well, yeah, like who else would she be connected to that he says might ruin his plans?
Yeah. Interesting.
Witches.
Well, I know witches, but I thought you meant like a witch in particular.
Well,
I'm sure you do, but you can't tell me.
just in general, could
Yeah.
be a weapon he may be referencing.
Okay, I'm catching your drift now. I'm catching your drift now. Indeed. Of course, his weapons are magical. They wouldn't be secret weapons if they were not.
Yes.
So we're done with the king for now. Queen Elena, of course, just appears at the best moments in our story after she has to fight that fucking monster with Kale and Fleetfoot gets a hurt leg. She finally shows up, this bitch, and tells Selena to prioritize Wendlin, which is interesting. I feel like we're going to find a word key there, which is why she wants her to go there. Or we're going to learn something else important in Wendlin. But my guess is there's a word key there, and that's why he hasn't found it yet, because the king hasn't gone there. And it makes sense to me because the Fae were there, so I want to go with it.
Love these parts when you're just rambling. I just stop saying things. You're just
I'm just
talking
trying to
yourself.
like convince myself, and you're just like, I can't look at you. But hey, whatever. Selena eventually agrees to the journey. She's like, okay, well, if Queen Elena is telling me to put my secret ghostly mission on hold to go to Wendland, then I must go.
I must go. Chapter 54. When the council meeting was over, Kale was avoiding his father and Dorian, but Dorian followed him out of the room and demanded to know why Kale was sending Selena to Wendlin. Kale said that Dorian couldn't know the truth on why he was sending her off. Kale told Dorian he didn't need Selena's forgiveness and he couldn't have her opening portals and bringing in creatures because she missed her friend in the castle either. Kale hated to lie, but if he was to leave for any else, then it would be better if Dorian hated him anyways. Dorian told Kale if anything happened to Selena, he would make Kale regret the day he was born. Kale just said back, well, one of us has to start leading.
Ooh,
Selena went to Nehemia's grave one last time before she would be sailing off to Wendlin. She told Nehemia that she was right, that she had been a coward, that it had been so long she forgot what it was like to stand and fight. She promised that she would stop the king, she will never forgive, and she will never forget what they did to Nehemia. She will free Eelway and see the crown back on Nehemia's father's head. Never forgive, never forget. She sealed this promise with her blood on Nehemia's grave. It was time.
Woo! Pumped.
Yeah.
Thanks for waiting until chapter 54, but we're here.
Yeah. Thanks for waiting till the second last chapter of this book before you decide it is now time.
At least you didn't have to go down any more stairs, okay?
I'm sick of the fucking stairs.
No more hallways, no more iron doors. We're here.
But Dorian being weird with each other again about Selena and Selena's blood-sealed promise to Nehemia. Now it's real. Never forgive, never forget, baby.
So Kale couldn't tell Dorian about her being Fae because he didn't see that because he was knocked out because she smashed his head on the wall.
Yeah, and then obviously Selena didn't want Dorian to know because she kicked him out of the room before she had the conversation with Kale. So Kale respecting her decision of not telling Dorian is like, well, I have to keep lying.
Yeah. Interesting. So who is his loyalty to, at least in this moment, is to Selena.
Yeah, he's definitely divided all the time about who his loyalty is going to.
Yeah,
He
it's a gray
he's
area.
always trying to do the right thing, but he will have to make a choice because if he keeps this split up as he's been doing, he's just gonna continue hurting himself and others around him.
Exactly, yeah. And he kinda taking on too much, and it's gonna blow up in his face. He needs to pick a side.
Mhm.
We'll see if he
Never
does.
forgive, never forget.
Never forgive. Chapter 55, and my last chapter of the night. Dorian arrived at Selena's room bearing a stack of books. Selena was reassured by the healers that Fleetfoot's leg would heal fully. Woo! Selena, finding farewells difficult, had intended to slip away quietly, her journey to the mythical and dangerous land of Wenland, just 2 hours away. Dorian, however, viewed the entire plan as reckless and pleaded with her to abandon the trip, fearing the dire consequences if she were captured in a land where a Darlin held no sway. Selena remained resolute, confident in her ability to evade capture, but Dorian confessed his constant worry and fear for her safety in the unknown.
Hmm.
Selena entrusted Fleetfoot's care to Dorian during her absence, a responsibility he readily accepted. He also deposited a collection of questionable books in her room, deeming them safer there than in his own. True to his word, Dorian concocted a flimsy excuse to avoid a formal goodbye at the docks, making their parting in her room their final moment. Selena expressed her deep gratitude to Dorian for his unwavering kindness and for being unlike the often cruel and self serving individuals of the court. She promised to return for him, a vow he believed with unwavering certainty.
Hmm.
At the bustling docks, ready to board her ship, Selena was met by a distraught Kale. In a rush of urgency, she divulged every critical secret: the word gates, Baba Yellowlegs, the riddle leading to the word keys locations, revealing the king possessed at least one. The malevolent creature sealed beneath the library to never open the catacomb door, and the ominous implication that Caltine and Rowling were pawns in a far grander, deadlier scheme. Removing the Eye of Elena, she pressed it into Kale's hand, needing someone to bear the weight of this knowledge, regardless of his actions. As Kale protested, Selena whispered a cryptic message in his ear, leaving him bewildered. Her final words to him were a profound declaration. His choices wouldn't have changed her heart. She would always choose him. Kale, overcome with emotion, confessed his love, but Selena could only offer a tearful apology before boarding the ship. As it sailed into the vast expanse of the sea, they held each other's gaze until the glass castle dwindled to a distant speck, until Selena was surrounded only by the endless ocean. With her back turned to a Darlin, she sailed towards her uncertain destiny in Wetland. Whoa, our girl
Wow.
is gone.
Crazy.
Dorian shows up at her room. He's like, "You thought you were going to leave without saying goodbye to me? Who do you think you are? Absolutely not."
She's like,
Gives her
"This is who I
one
am."
final chance. Yeah. He gives her one final chance to, ditch this trip. He's like, "This is reckless. Nobody can help you. It's not a Darlin territory, so there's no sway there. What if you get caught? I'm gonna be worried every single fucking hour, wondering what happened to you." And she's like, "Honey, I am a Darlin's greatest assassin," in her Italian voice. She's like, "I got this. Calm down." Selena expressed her deep gratitude to Dorian here. She's
Mhm.
like, "You were so kind, and you're not like any of the other assholes in this castle. So keep being you." And she leaves Fleetfoot in his care, which at first I was like, why didn't you pick Kale? He literally obviously would do anything, even run into a dark, scary portal of another world to save Fleetfoot. But I get Kale's going to have a lot on his hands with all the knowledge she dumps on
Yeah.
him at the dock. So makes sense to me. Dorian needs something to do here.
But she does tell Dorian, "I will be back for you."
Yeah, she says, "I will
For
return for
you.
you." And he believes her. Interessante. And then Selena finally tells Kale everything because he does meet her at the dock. Dorian does not show back up at the dock. But this is where she tells him about everything she kind of left out in the previous chapter: the word gates, Baba Yellowlegs, the riddle, everything that we need to know. The king and how he possesses at least one, even though I think he has at least two now. But we talk about the library, literally everything. And she gives the Eye of Elena to him. She's like, "You need this."
Yeah, you need this way more than I do right now.
Yeah, and she whispers something into his ear, and he's just like, "Huh?
Yeah.
What? What the fuck does that mean?"
Yeah, she's like, "Hopefully you stand by what you said about loving me after you figure this out."
Yeah, the captain of the boat's like, 2 minutes, we're leaving in 2 minutes, and she is about to get on this boat, and he's like, "I love you." He, like, word vomits it, and she's like, "Ooh, I'm sorry."
Yeah, she's
She
like,
does not say it
"But
back.
remember what you said when you figure
I
out
know.
what I just whispered in your ear."
Yeah, don't hate me when you figure it out, but you'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Because he's like, "What is it? What does this mean?" She's like, "You'll know."
yeah.
And then set sail to Wenland.
Well, here we go.
Here we go. Megan has been waiting 8 weeks for this chapter. Let's give her glory.
Chapter 56.
The excitement on your face right now is real.
I should just have read the last page to us,
Literally.
but I won't. Kale wrestled with the significance of the date Selena had given him. It marked not only her departure from the city and her breaking point at Endovier, but also the tragic day her parents died. He puzzled over why she revealed the word keys yet obscured this crucial date. What could overshadow the king's horrifying actions? His growing power, the disappearances, Cain? Like, what could overpower this?
Mhm.
He arrived at her room and discovered books on genealogies. He finds a chronicle from 10 years prior, and this catches his eye, detailing the very date Selena had mentioned: the assassination of King Orlin Galathinius, his heir Prince Ro, and Ro's wife Evelyn. They were found murdered in their waterfront home. Their daughter Aelin vanished without a trace. A flicker of memory sparked. Evelyn was from Wendelin. Tracing the female lineage in the book, Kale found Evelyn's name, and 2 generations above Aelin was the name Mab, one of the 3 Fae sister queens: Maeve, Mora, and Mab. Mab, the youngest and fairest, had become the goddess Deanna, Lady of the Hunt, upon her death. He recalled Selena's discomfort upon receiving Deanna's gift at Yulemas, and his mind raced as he connected the threads back to Aelin. Selena had mentioned a Fae great grandmother. Another article reported Aylin's supposed death the following day at the hands of the assassin. Her body never recovered, presumed lost in the river. Kale's memory surfaced again, Selena recounting how Arabin had found her half alive by a frozen river. A poem at the top of the page caught his attention: Ash River Eyes, the fairest eyes from legends old, of brightest blue, ringed with gold. Understanding dawned, Selena's averted gaze from the king, the one thing she couldn't conceal. Ah!
Here we go.
I can't even do it. I'm just so excited. Selena Sardathian wasn't in league with Aelin Asher Galathinius. Selena Sardathian was Aelin Asher Galathinius, heir to the throne and rightful queen of
Woo! Megan's favorite line in the whole Throne of Glass series.
Terrasen. Literally. She was a Darlin's greatest threat, aware of the king's power and determined to stop him. And he, Kale, had unknowingly sent her to her most powerful allies, her mother's homeland, her cousin's kingdom, and the domain of her aunt, Queen Maeve of the Fae. Selena was the lost queen of Terrasen.
Whoa!
Full body chills.
Full body chills. Is she gonna fucking find some of her relatives when she goes to Wendland? I think so. I think this whole chapter is foreshadowing for that.
Honestly, like, when I read this the first time, I literally was, like, shaking when I read that line, but reading it back, I'm like, "How the fuck did I not know?"
Yeah, the foreshadowing is real throughout the whole book of that.
Literally.
Yeah,
But that's it. The end
that's
of Crown of
it.
Midnight.
She's Aelin. She's the lost princess.
Mhm.
Or the lost queen, I should
Well, she
say.
was a princess, but
Yeah.
now she is the lost queen and heir to the throne.
Wild.
That's why Nehemiah is like, "You could bring back the powerful kingdom of Terrasen," and Archer's like, "I know who
Mhm.
you really are. You're perfect for this movement." And
Literally.
she was like, what do you mean you're in league with Aelin Galathinius?" Like, I'm Aelin Galathinius.
Crazy.
Wild.
Wow. Epic ending.
Epic ending. Been waiting so long to say that.
How are we going to read a prequel now? I just want to like keep going into Wendlin.
I know.
I feel like her aunt is going to be there, Queen Maeve of the Fae. Because it doesn't say she was dead. It says the grandma was dead, but.
Mm-hmm.
Interessante!
We got to get some backstories before we can continue on with the story.
Okay. Well, before we go back to before Throne of Glass, we have a little fast magic section here. Fast magic. Ooh,
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 ooh.
ooh,
Fast magic.
ooh,
Ooh, ooh,
ooh,
ooh,
ooh,
ooh. There's a lot of magic here, so
ooh. Mm-hmm.
here we go. Mort knew about Selena slaying the witch. He tells Selena the witches will be after her now and that he can smell the witch on her.
Mm-hmm.
Foreshadowing. Selena uses the word mark spell from the Walking Dead book to open
Mm-hmm.
doors in general, including the iron doors. The Eye of Elena amulet was lit bright blue to protect Selena from the creature.
Mm-hmm.
Dorian uses his magic to hold the iron door shut.
Mm-hmm.
Selena does a spell that basically stuns the creature still, and she slices him up.
Mm-hmm.
Paltane's family has a strong magical line. Selena uses the Walking Dead book to open a portal to talk to Nehemia, or the ghost of Nehemia, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
A monster enters through the portal. Dorian uses his raw magic to battle the beast. Selena reveals her Fae self to save Kale and Fleetfoot from the monster. Selena's power was in the form of blue fire. She imbues the sword, cracks the floor, kills the beast. Done. Magic rippled through Selena and she changed back to her human form. And Selena uses Dorian's blood and word marks to close the portal.
Wow.
Lots of magic, and I'm sure we're going to get even more into it. Maybe not in the prequel, but maybe in Heir of Fire, I'm hoping anyway.
Yeah, Fast Magic might need to take a little hiatus for Assassin's Blade.
Yeah, it's okay. Maybe we'll do like a world building topic of each story or something.
Yeah.
We'll get something in there in place of it, but
Yeah.
that's all we have for you today. Please let us know what you think by leaving us a review and comments on any of the platforms you are listening/watching on or on our social media pages. This helps tremendously to get the word out and lead more listeners to find our show and tune in. And come join our book club Discord. You can find the link in our bios on Insta and TikTok. And this month we are reading Silver Elite by Danny Francis. We love chatting with you guys, so don't be shy.
Yes, don't forget to email, follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and tell all your friends about us. And we hope the rest of your day is blissful. Bye!
Thank you so much for listening. Join us next week for part 5 of Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, discussing our final thoughts. Happy reading!